All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to go through uh, Dark They Were and Golden Eyed. This is the third thing that we've done with it, but we're only part way into the story. So today we're looking for part three, Dark They Were characters. You can find this by going to the week 5 folder and press Dark They Were characters, but of course you should already have found this if you're watching this video. So I guess that was unnecessary. Once you get to this page here, you have two things you need to open. First, open up this link here that says textbook. Once you open this, you will get into your textbook. You can sign in and look under the classes tab to then find the short story Dark They Were and Golden Eyed. If you have any trouble finding this, please let me know ASAP. Once you've got that, flip back over to this tab, and up at the top where these little blue dots are at, you will see My Document. Click on that and you'll get something that looks like this. You can press the big edit button if you need more room. So what we're going to do today and the following days until we finish this story, which we're only maybe a third of the way into, maybe a fourth, we're going to go through and talk about the characters. Now, we talked about characterization in class. Characterization is the process of giving character traits. We can do that directly or indirectly. And when we talked about characterization, we learned something called the Steele method, which is a way for finding the character traits of characters in a story. So we're going to use this Steele method, which stands for speech, thoughts, effects on others, actions, and looks, to characterize these four characters in our story. We have Harry, who's the dad we've already met, Cora, his wife. We're doing all three of the children together because they're really not that important in the story. And then there's also this fourth person down here. His name is Sam. We will meet him in tomorrow's lesson. So let's go ahead and flip back over to the story. And I'm going to start us off here right about at the mark of 6:30.
There was only the sound of the wind in the late afternoon. Alone, thought Bittering. Only a few bombs
Not
hit
quite.
New York. All the space rockets down.
And around
Just the same, said little David. I bet something happens.
here we are. Alright, so let me go ahead and get my sound turned on and make this a little bit bigger for you. We're going to be starting at paragraph 27 right here with something happened that afternoon. Before we do so, let me just give us a quick refresher what's going on in case we need it. Harry Bittering and his family just landed on Mars. They're moving to a new home because it's not safe to live on Earth anymore. As soon as they get there, he has some weird feelings. There are no actual Martians. Nobody knows what happened to them. He feels like they should just leave, but his wife says that that's silly. We should just stay here. And in the morning, their son David had said, maybe there are Martians. I think I hear them at night, Papa. I think I see something moving around. And his dad just tells him, oh, that's your imagination, son. And I want you to remember that fact because that's going to happen. Something very similar is going to happen to that about that again today. So let's go ahead and read this starting at paragraph 27.
Something happened that afternoon. Laura stumbled through the settlement crying. She dashed blindly onto the porch. "Mother, Father, the war, Earth," she sobbed. "A radio flash just came. Atom bombs hit New York. All the space rockets blown up. No more rockets to Mars, ever." "Oh, Harry." The mother held on to her husband and daughter. "Are you sure, Laura?" asked the father quietly. Laura wept. We're stranded on Mars forever and ever." For a long time there was only the sound of the wind in the late afternoon. "Alone," thought Bittering. "Only 1,000 of us here. No way back. No way. No way." Sweat poured from his face and his hands and his body. He was drenched in the hotness of his fear. He wanted to strike Laura, cry, "No, you're lying. The rockets will come back." Instead, he stroked Laura's head against him and said, "The rockets will get through someday." "Father, what'll we do?" "Go about our business, of course. Raise crops and children. Wait. Keep things going until the war ends and the rockets come again." The two boys stepped out onto the porch. "Children," he said, sitting there looking beyond them, "I've something to tell you." "We know," they said. In the following days, Bittering wandered often through the garden to stand alone in his fear. As long as the rockets had spun a silver web across space, he had been able to accept Mars. For he had always told himself, "Tomorrow, if I want, I can buy a ticket and go back to Earth." But now, the web gone, the rockets lying in jigsaw heaps of molten girder and unsnaked wire, Earth people left to the strangeness of Mars, the cinnamon dusts and wine airs, to be baked like gingerbread shapes in Martian summers, put into harvested storage by Martian winters. What would happen to him, the others? This was the moment Mars had waited for. Now it would eat them. He got down on his knees in the flower bed, a spade in his nervous hands. Work, he thought. Work and forget.
All right, so let's talk about this so far. That was the end of paragraph 42. And we're going to flip back over to our thing. So let's just quickly make sure we understood what that was all about. The big thing that David was worried about, sensing was about to happen, was nuclear war. The family came to Mars to escape from Earth, where there was about to be a nuclear war, which we all know what would happen to the Earth if that were to happen. We've played video games and we've seen movies where nukes go off and they destroy the entire Earth. So they're stranded here. There's no way to get home until the fighting stops, until people are able to send rockets off to Mars again and bring them home. Apparently they left without an escape plan, which is actually one of the things in real life that is holding us back from going to Mars, is the fact that we wouldn't be able to come back. So we're going to look again at paragraphs 40 to 42 and put some stuff down on our chart. In this section it says, in the following days, Harry Bittering wandered around his garden alone with his fear. As long as there had been, back when there were, rockets, he was able to accept Mars. It was okay with him. He would always tell himself, tomorrow I can leave. But now the rockets are gone, and he's not quite so self-assured. He already wanted to go home. Now he really, really wants to go home. It says down in 42, he got down on his knees and he thought that the only thing to do is to work and forget what's happening. So we're going to come over here. This is something going on in his mind. So we're going to put this in the thoughts section on our document. And since I've already got it here, I'm just going to go ahead and show it to us. And you can copy that down by pausing the video. Harry thinks about how going home is impossible. Paragraph 40. Make sure you put the paragraph number. I'm going to flip back over to the story, and we're going to pick up on paragraph 43.
He glanced up from the garden to the Martian mountains. He thought of the proud old Martian names that had once been on those peaks. Earthmen, dropping from the sky, had gazed upon hills, rivers, Martian seats left nameless in spite of names. Once, Martians had built cities, named cities, climbed mountains, named mountains, sailed seas, named seas. Mountains melted, seas drained, cities tumbled. In spite of this, the Earthmen had felt a silent guilt at putting new names to these ancient hills and valleys.
Okay, so real quick, pay attention to this. We're not going to do anything with it anytime soon, but it does come back up later, this idea of renaming Mars. What would you do if you came across a place where people used to live and you don't know what they used to call things before? Would you feel bad about giving it new names? Also, I want to rewind real quick. I forgot to point this out. It says that Mars is going to eat them right here in paragraph 41. It says that this is the moment Mars had been waiting for them to be trapped here without any escape. Mars is going to eat them. Yeah, you should all be a little bit confused by that idea of a planet eating them, unless you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but that's a completely different matter. Planets can't eat people, so what do you think that means for it to eat them? All right, sorry about that slight interruption. We're on paragraph 44.
Nevertheless, man lives by symbol and label. The names were given. Mr. Bittering felt very alone in his garden under the Martian sun. Anachronism bent here, planting earth flowers in a wild soil. Think, keep thinking, different things. Keep your mind free of Earth, the atom war, the lost rockets. He perspired. He glanced about. No one watching. He removed his tie. Pretty bold, he thought. First your coat off, now your tie. He hung it neatly on a peach tree he had imported as a sapling from Massachusetts. He returned to his philosophy of names and mountains. The Earthmen had changed names. Now there were Hormel Valleys, Roosevelt Seas, Ford Hills, Vanderbilt Plateaus, Rockefeller Rivers on Mars. It wasn't right. The American settlers had shown wisdom, using old Indian prairie names. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Idaho, Ohio, Utah, Milwaukee, Waukegan, Osseo. The old names, the old meanings. Staring at the mountains wildly, he thought, "Are you up there, all the dead ones, you Martians? Well, here we are, alone, cut off. Come down, move us out. We're helpless." The wind blew a shower of peach blossoms. He put out his sun-browned hand and gave a small cry. He touched the blossoms and picked them up. He turned them. He touched them again and again. Then he shouted for his wife.
We're going to pause there and take a look back at a few things in 47 through 51. So first of all, let's look at paragraph 47. It says he's sweating. Looking around, he decides that no one is watching him, so he's able to take off his tie. And he thinks to himself that is pretty bold. Bold meaning, oh, well, if someone was around, they might say something to me. This is, I guess, the equivalent of taking off your mask during the pandemic. Look around, nobody's watching, take off the mask. If someone were to see you, oh boy, they might say something, you'd be in trouble. So this is a indication that his mindset is changing. Some of the things that he values the opinion of others. He values keeping all of his fancy clothing on, his tie, his jacket, his sport coat, to look nice. But now he's starting to think differently. So I'm going to put this down under actions. He takes off his tie. Wow, no one is looking. Okay, and that was in paragraph 47. Okay, you go ahead and pause the video and get that one down. There's another There's two more that I want to show you on here. We have his thoughts to himself in 49. He's staring at the mountains, and he thinks to them as if he's asking them, are you up there, you Martians, you dead Martians that we never found in abandoned cities? Well, here we are. We're cut off from Earth. Come down, wipe us out. We're helpless. What are you waiting for? This here is Mr. Bittering beginning to think just like his son David, that there are actually Martians out there and that they are actually about to come and get him. So go ahead and put this down as well. This is paragraph 48 through 49, so we'll use this little hyphen here to show that. Pause the video so you can write that down, and let's look at this last one in 51. It says that he has sun-browned hands. Now, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think to yourself, which section are we going to put this under when we have section for speech, thought, effect, actions, and looks? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you didn't say that it belongs under looks, then you're not paying attention, and you might need to rewind this video. Okay, so his hands are tan. That's not really a big revelation or anything like that, but it'll be important later, I promise. So let's go back to the story here. We're on paragraph 52. Harry Bittering just noticed something about the peach blossoms. He's tending his garden. He's just doing a little bit of gardening, and something he noticed made him run to his wife shouting. So here we're going to find out what that was.
She appeared at a window. He ran to her. Cora, these blossoms. She handled them. Do you see? They're different. They've changed. They're not peach blossoms anymore. Look all right to me, she said. They're not. They're wrong. I can't tell how. An extra petal, a leaf, something. The color, the smell. The children ran out in time to see their father hurrying about the garden, pulling up radishes, onions, and carrots from their beds. Cora, come look. They handle the onions, the radishes, the carrots among them. Do they look like carrots? Yes. No, she hesitated. I don't know. They're changed. Perhaps. You know they have. Onions but not onions. Carrots but not carrots. Taste, the same but different. Smell, not like it used to be. He felt his heart pounding, and he was afraid. He dug his fingers into the earth. Cora, what's happening? What is it? We've got to get away from this. He ran across the garden. Each tree felt his touch. The roses, they're turning green.
All right, let's make sure you're paying attention here. So something weird is happening to their garden. Were you able to figure out what it was? All of their food is changing, and they can't quite agree on what exactly has been changed. He knows that these are still onions, but he doesn't know what an onion's supposed to be. He knows that this is still a carrot, but it just looks a little bit different. It tastes the same, but does it? It's not the way it used to be. Something about this place is taking away their memory of the way things were. So this is one of the creepiest parts, in my opinion, is the fact that they simply don't know what's different, what's changed. Look back to paragraph 45 with me. It says that he's gardening and he's putting down plants in the Martian soil from Earth. So normal plants that he's known all his life, and they feel like an anachronism, which is something that is out of place and out of time. This feeling is the feeling I've been describing that you might get if you now, as a 13, 14-year-old middle school student, Go through your old stuff and find your teddy bear that you used to snuggle up with as a kindergartner. You recognize the bear. You know his name was Mr. Cuddles, and you remember him, but having him here with you now doesn't have the same feeling as it did back then. This is something from the past that is still in the present, and it just feels odd, feels off. So this feeling that Mr. Bittering has while he's doing his planting, is gardening, is that these plants from Earth just are from a past life, that they don't belong here anymore. And then he realizes he can't remember what they're supposed to be. Kind of creepy in my opinion. He's losing his memory, losing his mind, and they can't quite decide. His wife is kind of hesitant with him. Yes, no, they are different. No, they're not different. I can't tell. So we're going to pick up on paragraph 67. They just noticed that the roses turned green, and just like with the carrots, they can't tell if roses are supposed to be green. They kind of remember they were supposed to be something else. Not green, though, but what were they supposed to be? 67. Listen, there's going to be two or three more things that are changed. I want you to see if you can find them on your own.
They stood looking at the green roses. And 2 days later, Dan came running. "Come see the cow. I was milking her and I saw it. Come on." They stood in the shed and looked at their one cow. It was growing a third horn. And the lawn in front of their house, very quietly and slowly, was coloring itself like spring violets. Seed from earth, but growing up a soft purple. "We must get away," said Bittering. "We'll eat this stuff and then we'll change. Who knows to what? I can't let it happen. There's only one thing to do: burn this food. It's not poisoned, but it is. Subtly, very subtly. A little bit, a very little bit. We mustn't touch it." He looked with dismay at their house. Even the house. The wind's done something to it. The air's burned it. The fog at night, the boards all warped out of shape. It's not an Earthman's house anymore. "Oh, your imagination." He put on his coat and tie. "I'm going into town. We've got to do something now. I'll be back." "Wait, Harry," his wife cried, but he was gone.
So that is where we're going to stop for today on paragraph 79. We saw two other things changed after the roses turned green. Their son, Dan, comes up to them and says, Dad, our cow has a third horn, and he is absolutely certain cows don't have three horns. He can't quite remember what an onion's supposed to taste like, but he knows that this is wrong. And then he looks around at the grass that they planted when they got here. And they've been here for a while, so the grass is starting to grow. It's purple. And he's pretty sure that grass is not supposed to be purple. So that's weird. And let's see. Then he's talking to his wife about about how this food is being ruined by the soil. Something is wrong here. We can't eat it. We should burn it. And she's denying him. She's like, no, it's fine. It'll be fine. We'll eat it. We'll survive. And he says, it's a very small, itty bitty, tiny difference. We really need to stay away from this. Look, wife, look at the house. There's even something different about the house. And this one he might actually be crazy about because he can't point to any specific details about the house that are different, just that it looks funny. And here we have the wife's response, which is, oh, that's just your imagination. We're going to flip back over to our document here and put that under Cora's speech lines. This might not be the best method, but Here's what we're going to put down. Cora tells Harry that all these changes are just his imagination. This is the same way that he earlier told his son that seeing things moving around in the night was just his imagination. Something seems to have gotten to her. We'll have to wait until next time to find out exactly what that is.